I'm going to preview the 2 seed Michigan State versus 6 seed Ole Miss men's basketball game, which will be played on March 28th at 6:09 p.m. Central Time on CBS. And as of right now, Michigan State's favored by 2.5. And both of these teams are like from the Big Ten and the SEC, as you can tell. And Ole Miss is 24-11 on the year, 10-8 in the SEC, while Michigan State's 29-6 on the year, 17-3 in the Big Ten. And I'll go over some players for both of these teams, and y'all could look at the heights and the weights and the jersey numbers just to make things faster. So I'm going to start with Michigan State. That's the 2 seed here. 12.7. Jaden Atkins, 12.7 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 1.1 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.5 fouls per game, 29.5% on threes on 183 attempts, 76.5% on free throws on 81 attempts. Of course, 0.8 steals per game too. And there's Jace Richardson, 11.9 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.4 fouls per game, 40.6% on threes on 106 attempts, 84.1% on free throws on 113 attempts. And it's Trey Holloman, 9.3 points per game, 3.8 assists per game. I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. 1.5 turnovers per game, 0.9 steals per game, 1.7 fouls per game, 34.3% on threes on 140 attempts, 83.3% on free throws on 66 attempts. And there's Cohen Carr, 8 points per game, 3.7 rebounds per game. Try to pull up the other stats here. 0.9 turnovers per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 1.1 fouls per game, 30.8% on threes on 13 attempts, 68.8% on free throws on 93 attempts. And there's Jackson Kohler, 7.8 points per game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 1.8 fouls per game, 1.3 turnovers per game, 34% on threes on 47 attempts, 81.5% on free throws on 54 attempts. And there's Jeremy Fears Jr., 7.4 points per game, 2.1 rebounds per game, 5.4 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, 2 turnovers per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 36.1% on threes on 36 attempts, 74.3% on free throws on 136 attempts. And there's Frankie Fiddler, number 8. Actually, y'all could look at the jersey number and all that. I didn't mean to mention that. 7 points per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, 0.6 turns per game, 1.1 fouls per game, 19% on threes on 63 attempts, 85% on free throws on 96 attempts. There's Carson Cooper, 5.1 points per game, 5.2 rebounds per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 0.7 turnovers per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 0 for 1 on threes, 73.7% on free throws on 76 attempts. There's Xavier Booker, 4.7 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 0.7 blocks per game, 0.9 turnovers per game, 1.2 fouls per game, 23.3% on threes on 73 attempts, 78.6% on free throws on 28 attempts. And really, one more player I'm going to mention is Sismon Zapala, YMON, 4.3 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 0.6 blocks per game, 2.9 turnovers per game, 2.2 fouls per game, 0 for 2 on threes, 65.9% on free throws on 44 attempts. Now I'm going to go over Ole Miss side of things real fast. Or as fast as I can here. Okay, the first player they're going to mention is Sean Perdula, 15.2 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists per game, 2 turnovers per game, 1.9 steals per game, 2.6 fouls per game, 39% on threes on 213 attempts, 82.1% on free throws on 112 attempts. And there's Jamin Brakefield, 11.1 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game, 0.8 steals per game, 1.3 fouls per game. Turnovers per game, 2 fouls per game, 35.1% on threes on 74 attempts, 73.2% on free throws on 138 attempts. And there's Malik Dia, 10.7 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 0.7 steals per game, 0.9 blocks per game, 2.3 fouls per game, 35% on threes on 80 attempts, 63.7% on free throws on 113 attempts. And it's Matthew Murrell, 10.7 points per game, 30.5 rebounds per game, 0.6 turns per game, 1.8 steals per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 31.5% on threes on 27 attempts, 39.3% on free throws on 82 attempts. And there's Jalen. Yeah, I kind of just double check if I really went over Jalen Murray again. If I did, I did. But I might as well. Jalen Murray, just 10.5 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, 1.3 turns per game, 1.4 steals per game, 1.7 fouls per game, 37.3% on threes on 58 attempts, 81.8% on free throws on 66 attempts. And there's Dre Davis, 10.3 points per game. So as you could tell with all these double-digit scores for Ole Miss here, they're balanced. 4.8 points per game. 4.8 rebounds per game, 10.3 points per game, of course. 1 steal per game, 1 foul per game, 1 block per game, 3 fouls per game, 1.2 turns per game, made it 33s on 75 attempts, 68.3% on free throws on 101 attempts. And now I'm going to mention only 3 more players, and that's Davon Barnes, which I'm going to have to look it up just from straight Safari here. Apologize for this delay. It's just when I clicked on it on ESPN, it just went to NCAA tournament, which is like, no, I don't want to do that. But it happens. 5 rebounds per game, 3.2 rebounds per game. 5 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game. 0.7 steals per game, 2 fouls per game, 21.2% on threes on 66 attempts, 92.7% on free throws on 56 attempts. And there's I know the last name is Brown Jones, but what's the first name? Come on. Great, it just exited me out. And I had to go back in. I'm trying to be efficient here, y'all. I'm trying to be. Michael or Mikhail. Either way, Mikeal. 4.1 points per game. 0.6 turnovers per game, 1.9 fouls per game, 18.2% on threes on 11 attempts, 75.9% on free throws on 58 attempts. And last player I'm going to mention is Eduardo Klafke, Klafke. Apologize if I butchered that. And I know it's not a lot of points per game, like 1.5 points per game, 1 foul per game, 48.1% on threes on 27 attempts, 54.5% on free throws on 11 attempts. So you got to make adjustments on the fly. Do this for your seniors, especially if they're potentially a NBA draft pick that's not a senior here. You got to hustle the team. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively, not just from first half, second half, but during those halves. You got to be resilient. You don't care about the efficiency. You got to make plays to win. Make the other team miserable on offense. Create some havoc. Create turnovers. Limit the points on the paint. Fast break points. Second chance points. And don't let them get any clean looks at the from the three, or of course, contain the shoots, contain the slashers. Don't let them live at the free throw line. Get some points in the paint. Get some transition points, second chance points, and points on turnovers on offense. Of course, you got to take care of the ball, get good shot selection, and everything, and limit your foul trouble while getting them in foul trouble. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And it's a 2 versus 6, and it's a small spread for a 2 versus 6 matchup. To be honest, I mean it's only 2.5 in favor of Michigan State here. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So my money, of course, like the video, comment, video. Really helps YouTube algorithms. So more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well. So more people watching. If you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button for the notification bell as well.